Our praises to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. And come to think, 2024, and people still believe this madness. They were naked. They ate from an apple tree. So it's a blessing to even know this truth, It's really a blessing. Genesis 3 verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord Yahawah had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, had Most High said, He shall not eat of every tree of the garden. Yeah, I'm going to look up that word subtle. Lord's will, this is edifying. Subtle, shrewd, crafty, sly, sensible. Crafty, shrewd, sensible, prudent. So you see, the serpent was crafty. You see? And to get some more edification on who the serpent is, Revelation 12 verse 9. Revelation 12 verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent. So you see, that serpent was actually a man. It wasn't a snake. Just like today we call somebody a snake when they're moving slippery, when they're moving cunning, we call them a snake. It's the same way the Lord speaks in metaphors. It's the same way the Lord speaks in parables, dark sayings. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out in the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And that's going into World War III, when YAHAWASHI take down this man out of rulership and take back what's his from the beginning. So I'm gonna look up that word devil, because in order to understand the Bible too, you got to go into words, because the Bible is written in Hebrew. So that word devil, diablos.
Strong's G 1228. Diabolos.
So that word devil, prone to slander, slanderous, accusing falsely. I'm going to go down to the second one. Metaphorically, applied to a man who, by opposing the cause of God, may he said to act the part of the devil, or to side with him. So you see, it's a man. Metaphorically applied to men opposing to God. So that word devil. So you see, the devil, that this person in Genesis 3, that serpent, which is called the devil, it's a man. Genesis 3 verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle, and any beast of the field were more cunning than any body of the field, because anybody that's not under the law, statutes, and commandments is considered a beast. And the commandments was only given in this time it was the Adamites, which Adam was the king at that time. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Lord Yahawah BAHASHAM, which Yahawah made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, had the Most High said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. And that word garden, when you think about it, a garden has all different type of trees and plants in it. So this is what the Lord is basically saying about the garden. He's basically using similitudes. A garden has different plants, just like people. You have different kind of people on the earth. So this is what the Lord is basically saying. Genesis 3 verse 2. And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. And she's basically telling the serpent right there that we should only listen to Adam and our people. That's what she's basically saying. Whatever Adam said, which was the king in that time, we may only listen to him and our people. That's what she's telling the serpent. And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. Genesis 3 verse 3. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High Yahawah had said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And what is the Lord talking about? The fruit of the tree. Mark 8 and 24. Lord's will is be edifying, man, because Genesis, this Bible is a deep book, man. I'm telling you. Even the milk of it. Because this is like the milk. I'm still on the milk. Genesis 8 verse 24. I'm going to start at 23. And he took the blind man by the hand, which was YAHAWASHI, and led him out of the town. And when he had spit in his eyes, and when he had spit on his eyes and put his hands upon him, he asked him if he saw aught. And he looked up and said, I see men walking. I see men as trees walking. So you see, men are considered trees also. Men are considered as trees also. I'm going to go to Ezekiel. Because precept upon precept. Ezekiel 31. Precept upon precept. And you get the full understanding of what's being said in the scripture. Ezekiel 31 verse 6. I'm going to read from 6 down to 9. And the fowls of heaven made their nests in his boughs, and under his branches did all the beasts of the field bring forth their young. And this is speaking about Adam and all the other nations. And the fowls of heaven made their nest in his boughs, and under his branches did all the beasts of the field bring forth their young. And under his shadow dwelt all great nations. You see, Adam was the king. Thus was he fair in his greatness, in the length of his branches, for his root was by great waters. Adam was in charge of everything. Verse 8, the cheddars in the garden of the Most High Yahawah could not hide him, which are the other nations. The fir trees, which is talking about people, were not like his boughs, and the chestnut trees were not like his branches, the other nations that was there in the garden around Adam. Nor any trees in the garden of Yahawah was like unto him in his beauty. Verse 9, I have made him fair by the multitude of his branches, so that all the trees of Eden, all the people, all the different nations in Eden that were in the garden of Yahawah envied him. Why it said envied him? Because the trees is talking about the other nations that were in the garden. Remember, this is where we're reading now in Genesis 3. In the garden. So you see, I'm going to read it again. Genesis 3 verse 3. But of the fruit of the tree, which are the people, which is in the midst of the garden, all these other nations with their philosophy in the garden. Because remember, anybody that doesn't have the Lord's law, statutes, and commandments are considered beasts. But of the fruit of the tree, which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High Yahawah had said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And that's talking about all the other philosophies, all the other fruits, as in the philosophies of these other nations. Verse 17. Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit. It's not talking about literal fruit. Every good tree, the good tree bringing the words of Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, the words that is right, what is righteousness, the words that are right, what's right. But a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit, and that's what the serpent brought. Evil fruit, evil philosophies. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. I'll read it again, Genesis 3 verse 3. But of the fruit of the tree, which are the people, which is in the midst of the garden, all these other nations with their philosophy in the garden. Because remember, anybody that doesn't have the Lord's law, statutes, and commandments are considered beasts. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High Yahawah had said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And that's talking about all the other philosophies, all the other fruits, as in the philosophies of these other nations. You see? Verse 4, and the serpent said unto the woman, that man from in the garden, that snake, that cunning man that was in the garden that teach Eve all his philosophies. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die, for the Most High Yahawah doeth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And gods, that word gods mean rulers. So ye shall be a good ruler, knows good and evil, because you have to know good and evil to be a judge. And that was what the Lord was teaching us. It's the Lord movie. This is where we are now in this day and age. Most of our people, we're living in wickedness. We are wicked. It's just that some of us are trying to do the right thing. Verse 6. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, why it say that? Because today we have a saying that says, food for thought. Your brain is also like a belly. It consumes information. So that's what it's saying. Remember, the Bible is written in parables. Dark saying, parables. You see? And when the woman saw that the philosophy was good for food, just like today, our women are still listening to the other nations. They're still under the governance of the white men. They still follow us. They still take us to church. They still celebrating even this madness, paganism, this Christianity right now. Verse 6 again. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. You see, he listened to her. Adam listened to her and followed her, and that is still going on up to this day. Verse 7, and the eyes of them both were open, because at that time they only knew about good. They only knew about righteousness, the right path that the Heavenly Father set up through Adam. They only knew that at that moment. And the eyes of them were both open, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. They knew that they were naked. I'm going to show you what that word naked. I'm going to show you precept upon precept what we mean by they were naked. It wasn't they was running around without clothes. That's what we were taught growing up, brainwash. Job 29 verse 14. I put on righteousness, and it clothed me. My judgment was as a robe and a diadem. You see? When you put on righteousness, when you put on Lord covering, which is righteousness, which is what the Lord said is right, which is his laws, statutes, and commandments, the way how to live, you were being clothed with righteousness. So when it says he was naked, it's not talking about literally naked. No, it's not talking about that. I'm going to get an next precept. Isaiah 52 verse 1. Awake, awake, put on thy strength. Why it say put on thy strength? Because the strength is the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, which is righteousness, which is what's right according to the Most High, which is his laws, statutes, and commandments, and how to live on his earth. Isaiah 52 verse 1. Awake, awake, put on thy strength, O Zion, put on thy beautiful garments. You see? That's the point right there. Put on the Lord beautiful garments. So when it says naked, it's not talking about literally being naked. And the eyes of them were both open, and they knew that they were naked, and they sew fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. We'll go back to Genesis 3 verse 8. We'll go back to... And they heard the voice of YAHAWAH walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord YAHAWAH among the trees of the garden. They hid themselves, as in they go mingle amongst the other nations. That's what that's saying. Just like how today we say family tree. Trees go back to different people. So they basically went and hide amongst the other nations. And the voice of the Lord is actually the prophets that the Lord had in that time. Let me show you. Isaiah 12 verse 10. Isaiah 12 verse 10. I have also spoken by the prophets. That's the point right there, you see? The Lord said, I have also spoken by the prophets. That's what he's talking about. So the voice of the Lord are the prophets. The Lord is not going to come down himself, man. The Lord is not going to come down from his throne himself. Crazy. So I'm going to read it again. In Genesis 3 verse 8. And they heard the voice of the Lord YAHAWAH walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord. They go hiding from the prophets, from the Lord YAHAWAH amongst the trees of the garden, amongst the other nations. They hid themselves among the other nations, try to disguise. Just like today we're basically hid among these other nations, the heathen. We've been scattered among the heathen. Some of us think that we're even heathens. So I'm on verse 9. And the Lord YAHAWAH said unto Adam, and said unto him, Where art thou? Verse 10. And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself, because he sinned. That's what he's saying. Not literal naked. The cloth of righteousness, he had put it off because he had sinned. Verse 11. And he said, Who told thee that thou was naked? Who told thee that thou sinned? As thou eating of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat. So you gotta listen to these people's philosophies and follow these other nations which are beasts. That's what he's saying. And I'm going to read it again, verse 11. And he said, Who told thee that thou was naked, as thou eating of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat? And the man said, The woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. And that same thing that's going on today. Ecclesiasticus 25 verse 24. Of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die, because Eve went and listened to the serpent, the cunning beast which was the serpent in the Genesis. So you see, she went and listened to Esau. Not well, it's the same spirit, but it was called Esau, to the serpent in the garden, which was the paradise that Adam was ruling. She listened to him, and then she bring it the whole philosophy and the whole way of thinking to Adam, and Adam followed the woman, and we still following the woman up to this day. Verse 13, and the Lord Yahawah said unto the woman, what is this thou hast done? And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. Which is, listen to the philosophy of the serpent. You see? So, Lord's will, this lesson was edifying to someone. Lord's will. All praises to Yahweh, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, Shalom.